Hello and welcome to the Breaking Free podcast. I'm your host, Nathan Francis, and today I'm very grateful and very humbled to be joined by my brother Jordy again, this time for part two. Um, we'll put a link to Jordan's chat with Tanner on the Power Up Self-Sabotage Solutions podcast as well. You can listen in on that chat that Jordy did, which was very insightful and very informative. And I don't think he's heard this yet, but I'm very, very proud of the man he has become and the man he was in that chat as well. And it was some very invaluable information that he shared in there about his story and even like an overview of different things from self-love to emotional eating to all sorts of stuff. So we'll put a link to that. It's the first thing you'll see in the description box below. But without any further ado, Jordy, welcome to my podcast again. And I'm looking forward to whatever we talk about today. And I'll just guide you and you can speak away about whatever it is that you would like to talk about today.
Thanks for having me again. I definitely enjoyed coming back. It's been a while since we've done this, so it'll be interesting to see what does come through. I don't have any expectations, so it'll be interesting to see what comes through, what ends up being the theme for the podcast for today.
I'm really looking forward to this because what you spoke about last week was so awesome, and I was very keen to get you back on. So, I guess we can just delve into it. So, self-love. What is self-love to you?
Well, self-love to me is at least honoring yourself and showing up for yourself, supporting yourself, but also is actually caring deeply for yourself and loving yourself the way you should be, and you should be loved, and also feeling your emotions too. Like, all of our emotions come up for a reason, so I feel like that is also a part of our self-love. It's why we're here. It's why we all have emotions, and it's a part of everything. I feel like self-love and our emotions, it all goes hand in hand. So self-love to me is, honoring yourself, supporting yourself, being there for yourself, and just allowing yourself the time and the space to feel whatever you need to feel as well. That's self-love to me.
That was a pretty awesome explanation, definition. I know for me, that's come up a lot this week for me, as you well know. I went through, so I had a couple of lessons to learn, and I'm out the other side now, and that resonated with me what you just said there. So it's pretty powerful stuff. So,
well, watching you go through that, there was things that I noticed that you weren't doing, and that was you were beating up on yourself. So instead of beating up on yourself, you should be forgiving yourself for doing that, because beating yourself up is only going to make yourself feel worse. Why do that? I've been there multiple times. I've always been the one. I've always been my own harshest critic. So I'm watching you go through that. That's why I had to pull back for a little bit of this week, because it was for my own boundaries. It was for my own protection, and so I don't get dragged down with you.
There are probably people out here listening to this right now. Do you want to delve in a bit deeper into boundaries then? Because you were sort of someone that didn't really set boundaries. If you want to go into that too.
Honestly, I had no boundaries. No, I let people take advantage of me. I let people walk all over me. I let people take from me. And I guess having to set boundaries to me looks like, you can help other people and that's fine. But also, when you need to help yourself and you need to go within, it's okay to say no. It's okay to pull back sometimes from different people for whatever reason. Even just when it comes to boundaries, it's like, well, set clear boundaries. Set, what are you willing to take and what are you willing to give? So, and if that's not balanced with, and I would look to all areas of your life, what are you willing to take and what are you willing to give? Look at all those areas in your life and see if that's balanced. You've got to have that balance. Otherwise, if you're giving too much, then you're not giving enough to yourself. So, we can't do what we want to do in this life if we're running on empty, helping everyone else but ourselves. Because at the end of the day, we might be wanting to help someone reach their end result on their journey, but then we're not doing that ourselves. And what's left for us? Why would you want to, I know it's great that you're helping someone else, but why put all your eggs in that basket when what about yourself? You're an amazing person too.
Well said. He sort of hit home there. It's some stuff I've been sitting in for the last week. That's why you guys haven't heard from me. I've learnt some valuable lessons over the last 7 days, and I had to go away and work on myself to get back up and go again. And I've had to learn that art of balance. So it's interesting that you bring that up.
But that's the thing. We're all on a healing journey, and we're not alone, and we don't have to do it all on our own. Like, yeah, there's a lot of things that we have to do ourselves, but I remember I had a Reiki session by one of our good friends, Vicky. I think it was last week or the week before, and it literally came up in that session. She's like, "All right, this is what's coming up, and this is what I can do, but the rest is on you," which was me, obviously. So the rest was on me, and it's like, well, as soon as that phone call ended, as soon as she finished the Reiki, I went and did what I needed to do. And I've never been that kind of person to just go straight in and do it. I would usually sit with it. I'd usually take my time, and I'm just noticing for me personally on my healing journey, I'm really taking charge of what I'm willing to give out to others and what I'm willing to keep for myself, because I don't want to be running on empty, and I'm someone who does pick up on other people's feelings and emotions, and I do like to help others, and especially being a sensitive type of person, an empath, all of that, I can't do all that if I'm depleted and got nothing left for myself. And that sometimes does include you too. Sometimes I do need to set the boundaries. So, I can't always help you with everything, because maybe I need to show up for myself this time. And that happened this week. I said, mate, you're going to have to do it on your own. I can't always help. I can't as much as I want to, but I've got to set the boundaries so that I'm not depleted.
And that's exactly what happened this week for those who are listening. I sort of went to Jordy for some help in that, and got not pushed aside, but pushed away. And I feel like that was big for Jordan to be able to say no and let me go away and do what I needed to do. I had some good people in my corner that were helping me stay accountable for the things that I needed to do, and having those people around you are so crucial. I learned that a lot this week too, that having awesome people around you to hold you accountable for the things you're going to do. Some awesome people that will listen to this, they know who they are, and I thank them very much for holding me accountable for some things that went on this week that I might delve into at a later date.
But that's important too. Like, especially for you, you post a lot of stuff on your Telegram and that, and you don't want to be contradicting some of that because you're telling others to do that. But if you're not doing it yourself, then how do you expect others to do it?
Exactly.
And that's what I've noticed with whether you guys follow me on my Instagram or not, you'll see a lot of my quotes that I write about showing up for yourself, about self-healing and self-growth and self-worth and all of that. I ensure that whatever I write that day, I'm doing myself too. Whether I'm telling you to don't be so hard on yourself, I'm telling that to myself too. That is all for me too. It's not just for you guys, and it's not just a daily reading or a quote that I'm writing just for whatever reason. I'm also writing it for myself because I'm holding myself accountable too. I don't want to be saying something, but I'm not doing that myself either.
For you, were always someone that beat up on yourself. So how was that transition for you?
Well, it had to start on the tennis court, because for me, that's where I used to beat up myself the most. And I noticed that, if I lost this match or if I was playing poorly or whatever it was, that's where it started. I would just beat up with myself, and then I'd end up losing that match because I couldn't get my head right. So in order for me to do that, the lesson was do it on the tennis court. But then something like you said to me was, you do all of this stuff on the tennis court, but you need to apply it to your life. And I went away and I was like, you know what? I do need to apply that to my life, because the last 2 years, I've probably until halfway through last year, and when I started playing tennis again last year, that was my big focus of what do I do differently on the tennis court that I don't apply to my life, when it can be applied to my life, because the self-worth, the self-growth, all of that also applied on the tennis court too, because I needed to show up for myself and pull myself out of these negative thoughts, negative feelings and change that so I can be the person I'm supposed to be and be the positive, the brighter person, instead of sitting in negative and sitting in stuff that doesn't serve me and doesn't serve anyone.
Well said. I was just I had some negative thoughts and negative feelings during the week myself, and watching your progress has been absolutely incredible. And you should be very proud of yourself for that progress that you've made.
And I feel with that, I'm unlocking this inner wisdom and this inner strength that I didn't even realize I've had. Like I've had moments where I've written a quote or something and I've just been covered in goosebumps, being like, where did that come from? Where is some of this coming from? Where is some of this knowledge, this wisdom? And I'm noticing it's really coming from within. And some of it I do channel too. So some of it I do get from my spirit guides or from from my spirit guides. And it's just an inner wisdom that's helping me heal and helping me to be my most authentic self. And I feel like that I always lacked that. And even today I messaged an old friend, and I felt that was really healing and really showing some growth. And I was just saying how proud I was of that person for what they're doing in their life. And it's like, well, okay, I never thought I'd do that. I never thought I'd reach out. I never thought I'm just surprising myself each day and taking myself, just shocking myself sometimes of how much I have grown and how much I have changed and how different I am to what I used to be and who I used to be.
Yeah, and I'm noticing that growth too, and it's really awesome to see. And you're very passionate now, and you're very motivated. And I feel like you lacked that motivation over the last few years, and you've definitely got that back. And he's got some exciting things coming up that he'll share with his YouTube channel. We'll put a link to that in the bottom as well. So Jordy has his own YouTube channel that we'll put a link into. You can share and follow and give that a like. And just on before you mentioned that are you holding yourself accountable? Who's holding you accountable for?
I said I'm definitely holding myself accountable. I'm looking at the quotes I'm writing, and I'm looking at different things I'm saying, and I'm ensuring that I'm doing that. So other night, and I'll say when I journal, I have really changed the way I journal to hold myself accountable too, in the sense of, if I want certain things to come into my life, or what am I lacking in my life, and what am I lacking within myself to have such a want for something? And why, like I'm sitting there and being single, all we want is a relationship and we just want to feel love. But the question is, are you not feeling love for yourself? Do you really want that from someone else because you're not giving it to yourself? And so I've really changed my self-love and gone, you know what? Love will come when it's supposed to, but I want to ensure that I'm loving myself fully, wholeheartedly, deeply, and really feeling that before I let someone else in. And it goes to, well, how can I love them on a deep level like they deserve if I'm not doing that to myself when I deserve it too?
That's very powerful. Because if you're looking for love, and you're seeking someone, it's like, are you seeking that validation from someone else? Because you can get it from yourself. It's all right here. It's all right here in the heart. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I always say we're never alone, because I'm going to say this. You've said it a couple of times this week that you're feeling, and over the last few months, you've said how much you're feeling alone. And it's like, you're never alone, because you've got your spirit guides there. You've got your guides. You've got people on the other side that you don't even realize that are there helping and guiding. And that's why I've said, always be grateful for that, because sometimes I wouldn't say we take advantage, but sometimes we lose sight of, we might feel lonely in the sense of we don't have a lot of friends or we don't have a lot of people around us, but it's like, well, we actually do, because we went and had dinner a week ago with a whole bunch of friends. Like, we do have good people around us, whether they're here or up in Queensland. We still have a lot of people around us, and we still have a lot of people that are on the other side working and guiding and helping us to get to where we need to be or where we want to go. We're never alone in this life. People and the reason why I'm saying this is because I used to feel so lonely. I have worked so hard on that because I felt alone. I felt like no one gets me. I felt like I was outcasted, or whatever you want to call it, whatever word you want to say. I felt that on a really deep level until I changed my perspective and changed the way I see things. I'm like, yeah, okay, I have a small group of friends, but maybe it's because they're supposed to be. Maybe I'm supposed to have that small group of friends, is what I was trying to say. Maybe I'm supposed to, maybe I'm supposed to reach out more to those people. Maybe I'm supposed to talk, or maybe we're supposed to talk more. I don't know what it is, but maybe having a smaller group of friends is helping me and teaching me to appreciate who I've got in my life, and instead of taking them for granted, because I felt like I did that with my old friends. And if they watch this, I totally felt like I took you guys for granted. I've had to learn a lot. I've had to grow, and I'm glad that I'm still here, because who knows where I would be if I hadn't have done this much work on myself.
It works very powerful. What you just said there was, yeah, it was absolutely spot on. And I've watched that evolution of yours, and it's been so, so awesome. You should be very, very proud of yourself for that. It's really, 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 really powerful for those people out there that are currently lonely, that are currently feeling like they have no one. Because I was also feeling like that too. And what you just said there is so powerful. It's like, yeah, you've got less people around you, but those friendships mean more.
Yeah, and to me, they're my soul family. They're the people that I've been in multiple past lives with. Like, that's how I feel, and that's how I see them. And I feel they're in my life for a reason. Like, I was speaking to one of them today, and it was just such a deep and beautiful conversation about healing and growth, and what she's doing in her journey. And it's like, well, yeah, I can apply that to my life too. And she spoke about the beach and the ocean, how healing that can be. And I know we're going to the beach tomorrow, so that's something I want to put into practice. And that's something I want to do, is when we do swim and do all that, I want to feel that it's healing things inside that I didn't realize needed to be healed, which is, it's a roundabout way of how she put it. She put it in better words, but that's to me how it feels to me. And so when I go to the beach, that's why it feels so healing for me, and why I feel so connected to it.
You've always felt connected to it even before you were awakened. You felt very connected to the ocean. You used to stay in there when we were a kid. You used to stay in there, especially up in Queensland. I remember that story that we had a bit of a cyclone coming, and that didn't stop you from being in the ocean.
So. No, I remember Mum and Dad. Oh, I think it was Dad that stayed with me. Couldn't get me out of there. Yeah, I just loved it. I love being knocked over by the waves, and as a kid, I used to love that. I just any body of water to me just feels so healing. If I can somehow get in it, whether it's just my feet or completely emerge in it, I feel that it just heals. I don't know, it just feels like it heals something inside, and all the cares, all the worries that I had just seem to just float away. And I just feel so much better for it. And now I understand why I need to make time in my life, in my schedule, with what I'm doing, to get to the beach, whether it's once a month or once a fortnight or whatever it is, as long as I make sure I get there. I have to get there. It is so powerful for me.
That's awesome. And it's an awesome message for people out there too. It's like, get your feet barefoot in the dirt in nature, or out in the ocean, because grounding is very, very important, especially in these times as well. Nature and the ocean, all the wisdom and the knowledge that provides us is phenomenal. So, yeah, kick your shoes off.
Yeah, and and just to feel grounded, like, it helps with so much. Like, you're grounding, you're feeling the earth's vibration, you're feeling the earth's energy, you're getting that into you, and that can shift and help so many different things that you might be feeling inside, that maybe you just needed to ground and connect back to the earth and feel that energy, feel that vibration, just to get you out of whatever you might have been in or whatever you might be in, just to get connected back up properly to yourself or to the earth or whatever it is. It's just,
Yeah.
it's so important.
And the key is when those negative thoughts come in. I know for me, they came in a bit this week, and I was sitting in some stuff, and the one thing that was constant though was I still kept my routine. I was still stretching, I was still meditating and doing the things that I was doing to get myself out.
Yeah, and I feel with that it's so important that when you do have the negative thoughts, that you change them and you add a positive. Because I know for me, in my head, I'll say something to myself that is negative, and then I'll quickly be like, no, that's not how I feel. Like, I remember during the week, I was like, God, I really don't like that about myself. And I'm like, you know what? No, I'm going to embrace that. I do like that about myself. I love myself, and I am whatever else I added on. Can't really remember, but it's all about changing that perspective and changing that mindset. Because if you go deep into a negative mindset, you're going to go deep into dark stuff that you don't need to be in and you don't need to be going into. It's so important that when you do feel anything negative coming up, you shake it, get rid of it as soon as it comes up.
Sometimes that can be easier said than done too, though.
That is true. I've had my battles with that, but instead of saying a whole bunch of negative stuff to myself, I'm making the choice myself to change it as soon as it comes up. And I know it's hard, but it's so important, because I used to be stuck in it. I used to say some really horrible things to myself and about myself. So now that if any little one comes in, I'm changing that straight away, because I don't want to go back, or I don't want to go down into something that I don't need to be, because that's not me.
It's powerful. Very, very pretty much sums up my week, what you're saying there, doesn't it? So,
and that's what I was trying to tell you about, changing your perspective and changing, just to speak about it a little bit. You want to change your environment, you want to change a lot of things, but it's like, well, you can't get the life that you want if you don't if something doesn't change. And I feel like with you and what I had to do as well was change my perspective, especially on Bendigo. I feel like we need to embrace Bendigo. We need to embrace where we are at in our lives, so that when all that good stuff that we want and that we know is coming finally does come, we can appreciate that even more, because we have an appreciation from where we've come from. Because at the end of the day, this has been our home for how long now? And yeah, there might be some shitty things here, but there is a lot of good still here. There's a lot of good people here, and I will never forget where I've come from, and I'll always be grateful for being here, for living my life here, whether I move on in a few months' time, or whatever, or in a couple of years, whatever it may take. I don't care. I'm on this journey, and I'm not going to change it, but I'm going to be grateful for where I've come from the people that were in my life and may no longer be in my life, or are still in my life. I'm grateful for everything. I'm grateful for it all. And I just can't wait to see where else this ride takes me. But as I've said, and I want to reiterate, is that it's so important to be grateful and change your perspective on where you've come from, because at the end of the day, this place raised you.
Wow. I'm speechless, because it's pretty much what I've been sitting in for the last 7 days. I don't really have anything else to add to that. So yeah, it's so powerful. That I love that. Thank you for saying that.
I speak a lot about changing your perspective. Like, I've been saying that a lot to you, but it's something that I've been practicing, is changing my perspective. And yeah, there can be some negatives, but see the positives in those negatives. Like, at the end of the day, that was a lesson. Like, same with what you've been going through, is like, that was all a test and a lesson for you. And it's like, well, why sit in the negatives of that? Why don't you look at the positives of, you know what, I'm going to be stronger. I'm going to have more strength for going through that. I'm going to be a completely different person to what I was. Like some of the growth that can happen from these challenges and these setbacks that we do have is so much more rewarding, because when we continue to get good things in our lives, we can be grateful for it because we went through those challenges and those hard times. Because, and I'm speaking from experience because I've gone through a lot of hard times. Nothing has come to me has been easy. Nothing that I have gone through, I wasn't spoon fed. I wasn't handed my life on a silver platter like some might think. I went through a lot. I've been through a lot. I've had to change and had to heal a lot too. And I feel like sometimes people don't see that, and that's fine because that's my journey. That's my story. But you should never cast judgment. You should never assume that no one's had it hard because your life was harder. It's not about that. We all have our own story. We all have our own journey. That's authentic to us. And that makes us who we are. And at the end of the day, we've all got shitty things that we've had to deal with. We've all got shitty things that we've had to go through. But why don't we be more positive and show the strength and the courage for getting through that? Because I wouldn't be here and I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't gone through all that stuff. And the amount of change and the amount of growth and the amount of love and the amount of good stuff that has come into my life since then, I will never take that for granted, because I am so glad I went through all that. So glad. Never thought I'd say it, but I am glad that I went through everything that I did to be the person I am today.
Oh, goosebumps. I think we sort of just, let's just be our most authentic selves here. We came in here to record this podcast with no real rundown or anything. Look, the rundown's blank. We came here and we just hit record. That was awesome what you just said there. I'm so proud of you.
And I'm proud of myself, and I'm proud of the growth that I'm showing, because I never thought I would. I don't know, something's just in the last few days, something's just really been just shifted, as you said.
But I'm feeling that too, though.
Something inside of me is like, I know what I want, I know who I am, and I know why I'm here. And that's a big thing. A lot of people go through life and they don't know why they are here.
Yep.
And I sit here and I think about everything that I've gone through, and I'm like, I totally understand why I went through it. And I totally understand why I'm here. As I said, a lot of people don't know why they are here. That is a big question that everyone goes through life searching for. What is my purpose? Why am I here? And I know that, and I'm so grateful that I do.
This is the work we do. We can help you find that purpose. Because this last 7 days, I lost sight of my purpose. I lost sight of who I am and why I'm here. And as soon as he said some things, we have some very hard conversations sometimes, and he gave it to me straight one night this week. Absolutely gave it to me straight and reminded me of who I am and why I'm here. And I instantly felt the shift.
Yeah. And that was my role. I felt like I needed to remind you of the exciting things you do have coming up. And I wanted to show you, and in a part of that lesson was, I want you to be grateful for that. I want you to show the universe that you're grateful for that, so that more of that can keep coming. Because you said something very interesting. You said, I feel like I take 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. I feel like I go up and then I'm down, and then I go up and then I'm down. And it's like, well, how do you change that? How do you shift that? Well, keep going through it, but showing the universe that you can handle it, because the universe only gives you as much as you can handle. Show the universe that through each of those challenges, I am stronger for it, so that when I keep taking my steps forward, they keep going forward, and keep showing that you are grateful for what's coming, but you are also grateful for what you had to go through, and that you're grateful for those challenges, those setbacks, because maybe they needed to happen so that something better can come in, or something else that's even better again can come in. Because that's what the setbacks and challenges are. That's how I view them, is that, okay, maybe I wasn't meant to do that. Maybe something else was meant to come into my life that's even better, and I was meant to do that instead.
It's having that conscious awareness, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because a lot of things happen to us that are negative, but it's having that conscious awareness and that positivity to go, hang on, well, what is this showing me here? This happened because X, Y, Z is supposed to happen. Yeah. There's always, like, they always say, don't they, Jordy, that everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
That couldn't be any more true.
And on a smaller scale, just to provide an example, on a very small scale, it
You
can
can use
be.
me if you want.
No, I'm gonna say like just a very small, a very what's the word? Just a very like a small scale of what that is as an example is it could be you want to go somewhere and then you keep getting red lights and it keeps delaying your time of when you're supposed to get there, and then you're going to end up being late. And a good example of that is, and a good reason for that is, maybe you were supposed to show up late. Maybe the universe was guiding you somewhere else instead, so it kept putting roadblocks in your way so that you could see, hang on, maybe I'm not supposed to go here, but maybe I'm supposed to go there. It's just a complete shift and a complete change. And I remember I went for a walk. I think it was yesterday, and I kind of just stopped, and I was at a crossroads whether I go straight and continue on this walk or do I start heading home. And I kind of just closed my eyes and just kind of was guided. No, head home. You need the rest, or you just need a little walk today. You don't need to be on such a long walk. And I noticed that doing that, I was like, you know what? I was right. Whatever was guiding me, whoever, whether it was my team or someone on my team, I just felt, yeah, I needed a shorter walk. And I know that's a very small scale of the example of that, but I'm providing that so that you guys can understand and apply it to your lives too, because there's so many bigger examples and larger examples of that. For an example of a big one, we wanted to go away for Christmas.
Here we go.
We wanted to go away for Christmas. We didn't want to be here. And we got a couple of roadblocks. And the whole time I was like, well, it's fine. I know what I'm doing on Christmas Day. And we ended up going to the beach, but you were so down and upset that we didn't get to go to the beach. I mean, to Queensland. But I was like, well, we do have beaches here. We can still go to the beach for the day. And we did. And maybe we were supposed to do that instead.
Mm.
And then we came home and we saw some family, and it was actually pretty good. Like, maybe we were supposed to be here for that. Maybe this was maybe this was a step in all of us coming together. I don't know, but maybe that happened for a reason. We weren't guided to Queensland like we thought we were. We were guided to actually stay here.
Well said.
So that's a larger example of that. We all have examples of that in our lives, but it's the lesson is understanding why that happened. Why didn't I get to go here, but I got to go there instead? Why did that happen? And once you understand those reasonings and understand what the universe is showing you and telling you, it's so healing. So healing. And it's so powerful too.
Mm. If I had told you this time a year ago, you'd be recording a podcast with me.
Well,
providing information and wisdom and knowledge like that.
I probably wouldn't have believed it, because I hadn't had done the amount of self-growth back then as I have now. I started to. My self-growth and self-worth and all of that journey, and even a health journey, started when all this COVID crap happened. And that's why I always say I'm one of the few people that is actually grateful for that, because it allowed me to change. It provided me the tools to change so that I can be who I'm supposed to be, and I can be the person that I am today. That is why I'm one of those few people that actually am grateful for it. I know it's a shitty thing, and it's a shitty part of what we're all going through, but again, there is some positives. And I feel like in the society we live in, we just focus on the negatives. Everything's negative. You look at people outside, they seem so down and depressed. And it's like, if they would shift their perspective, and if they would shift their mindset into seeing the positives or seeing things for what they are, that is the first step of finally finding the happiness that we all seek, when we know the happiness and the love is all inside of us.
Wow, that's so powerful. Wow. It is. You're right. All the happiness, all the love, all the gratifications, right there inside of us. If there's someone out there right now listening to this and it's resonating with them and they're they're sitting in some negativity like I was, they're lonely like we have both felt, they're all those things above and more, and they're lost, they're stuck, they're addicted, they're sad, they're lonely, they're all those things, right, Jordy?
Yeah.
What be I ask this of my guests all the time. What is the one piece of advice you would give those people to start their healing journey?
My piece of advice would be, because I have been in some of those situations, is
I think you've been in all of them.
Well, I haven't been. You can make a case for an addiction. You can make a case that it wasn't like a drugs or alcohol.
It's just
food, basically. Yeah.
Sorry.
My piece of advice would be that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Always remember that. Always remember that. How do I put it? So there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm going to say, take me for example. I was someone through my early teenage years to I'm still early 20s. I'm still considered early 20s because I'm 24, but I'm talking from until I was about 21, 22. So very early teenage years till about 21, 22. I was someone who absolutely hated themselves, didn't like myself, didn't appreciate who I was, didn't appreciate the person I am, and just sat in all of the stuff that I had been going through, the bullying and all of this stuff. You would have heard it on the first podcast I did with Nathan, some of my story of what I've been through. And it's like, I understand, but the one thing that kept me going was just the inner knowing that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I am so glad that I am still here and showing the inner strength, the knowledge, the wisdom that I have, that I kept hidden even from myself. I hid this part of myself. I hid it because I didn't know that I had it. And now that I've unlocked it and continuing to unlock it, I am the best version of myself. I am the happiest I've ever been. I may not look it. I'm very tired, guys. So just want to throw that out there. If you're watching this and I'm talking about being happy, I am happy. I'm just really tired. I didn't sleep very well last night. Thought I'd just say that anyway, just because
But you're allowed to feel like that.
And yeah, I'm allowed to feel like that. And I just want to say that because if you're watching this and you're seeing, I'm talking about being happy, and it's like, well, I am. Trust me, I am. I'm just very tired. But back onto what I was saying is, I kept a lot of myself hidden, even from myself. And that's why when I speak about on my Instagram, I post a lot of stuff about showing your authentic self, shining your bright light, is because I'm doing that more so than I have ever, and I am so proud of that. And my message is, guys, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and I may not be a life coach or whatever. It is something I'd like to do at some point, but I would love to even just start working with some of you guys as well in clearing and releasing your emotions, letting yourself feel your emotions, teaching you guys how to feel your emotions and how to release them. Because I feel we've become a society where we ignore our emotions and our feelings, and we don't allow ourselves to feel them, and especially being males, it's not okay when it is. But we're humans at the end of the day. We are all here on a journey. We are all here and we all have emotions. You're never alone. You're not the only one who's feeling sad, depressed, lonely, hating themselves. You're not the only one. We all have a story. We all have emotions, and we're all allowed to feel them. And I know for me, that is big because I'm someone I used to block my emotions. And I feel like the next step for me in unlocking a lot of my emotions is allowing myself to cry. That is the next big step for me that I'm still working on. So I may be talking about it as if I don't understand, but I do, because I have done it myself. And I'm working towards allowing myself the space to cry, to feel whatever I need to feel, so that I'm not holding it and it is not becoming a darkness inside me anymore, because I will never allow any darkness to be inside me.
Wow. It's like, what do you say to that? Like, that's so powerful, Jordy. Yeah, I don't really have anything else to add to that, mate, other than that's such an awesome message, and a lot of people out there are going to resonate a lot with that. I really do feel that. So we might as well finish it there if you want.
Yeah, I'm happy to.
Quickly though, what is it that you do? There's a lot of new subscribers to my let's just say my platforms now. Let's just remind people and tell people what it is that you do.
So I'm a psychic and a medium. So this came to me, just a long story short. I went and saw a kinesiologist, for those that don't know. Her name's Gina. I was talking about her before because
she was also on episode 1 of this podcast. You can find that in the library.
Yes. So I had a session with her, and she was working on me. She said, you can do everything I can do. And I was like, really? Are you sure? And because she's a kinesiologist, plus she does psychic readings and that. And so then she mentioned that you can be a medium if you wanted to be. And I was like, all right, how do I do that? I want to do that. And she guided me to get tarot cards. And I got 2 card decks, which happened.
I'm just getting the cards now.
So my very first 2 card decks were actually,
show them.
Yeah.
For those that are watching the video.
Were this one, the Akashic Records and the Angel card deck. They were my very first 2. I was guided to them in a bookstore that Gina sent me to in Mooloolaba. And I just was covered in goosebumps, and I was like, yeah, these are the cards that I'm going to be working with. And that kickstarted my journey. And I, instead of, I don't know, for me, I was never one I need to study up and I need to learn. I just threw myself straight into it. And I was like, well, I'm going to promote myself, and I actually want to see clients. And I felt like doing that. Yeah, it was scary because I'm reading other people, but I felt like that was the best way for me to learn, because then since then I've learned I've been going to markets, and my abilities have just been getting stronger and stronger. Things are happening, things are unlocking inside of me. And I'm grateful for that journey I've been on too. And I talk about the healing journey because that is the biggest thing, and that is the biggest thing you'll ever go through on any type of journey. It's always the healing journey that comes first. But my spiritual journey, I wouldn't take that for granted either. That is something that I'm still going through, and the amount of growth that has come from that. Like the last market, you were with me. I just had people coming out of the woodwork. It was crazy. And I felt the readings that I was doing, yeah, they were pretty quick, but there was something that I noticed, the growth in that from when I started. I was like, wow, some of these readings, I'm like,
they were more than just readings though.
Yeah, but some of those, I was just like, wow, where is that coming from? And sometimes I even shocked myself. I was like, how did I know that? How do I know that? And it's like, well, obviously I'm channeling it and I'm being told, and it's awesome.
You really can clear blocks and stuff for people, Jordy.
Yeah. And that's why
it's so awesome, the stuff you do.
And that's why the session with me is, yeah, you're getting a psychic reading, you're getting a mediumship reading, you're getting that kind of stuff, but you're also getting healing, because I also allow you to tell me some of your story.
So you're holding space.
I'm holding space for that person too. And instead of me always, of figuring it out, like, yeah, I can be told, but I also allow you to tell me some stuff, because, and I know when you go to see a psychic or you go to see a medium, it's like you just want them to tell you everything. And it's like, well, I don't necessarily do that. I allow you the space to tell me a little bit of your journey and a little bit of your story, because that is healing for you. Yeah, I can figure it out. Yeah, I can tell you. And yeah, I can, do all that. But you're being told when it's your story. And that's why when I do readings, I would rather tap into the future and tell you some of the exciting things that will be coming up instead of shocking you with being like, how did you know that about my past? How did you know? Like, I don't want to do that. That's not authentic to me. And I know a lot of psychics and mediums, they do that. They're like, oh, so you've been through a lot. You've been through this, you've been through that. And it's like, well, I don't want to tell you that because you know that. I would rather be like, this is what's coming up for your future. And I'd rather you tell me whether it's just a small snippet and then I add on with what I'm getting told about your past so that it's healing for you.
So you get there.
Yeah. And so that you can get that future, because with me and a lot of us spiritual, a lot of the psychics, we see the timelines that we see, they can change depending on the choices you make. That timeline can change because that was the timeline that I saw for that day. So that can change the next day, or that can change in a week, because you don't know, there's some things that I can't say as to what could change that. Like, at the end of the day, it's your decision, and how you get there is on you. But I can tell you what's coming, but I can't necessarily tell you how to get there. And I feel a lot of people, when they come to psychics, and I know sometimes when I see Gina for her work, it's like, well, how do I know I'm doing that. How do I get there? And it's like, well, she can't tell me that because that's up to me and that's on me. And she can only do so much, and I can only do so much, but it's, at the end of the day, it's up to you. I'm providing a service that you're coming to, and I would rather help heal and help you grow so that when that does come, that it's something exciting, and that the journey that you go on to get there is exciting, instead of, oh, well, so you've told me this. Well, now how do I get there? How do I do that? How do I achieve that? And it's like, well, that story is up to you to write.
Work on yourself too.
Yeah, and work on yourself too.
When you come for a session with Jordy, he'll tell you his story too about what worked for him, and like these tools do, they do work.
Yeah.
I see it too, Jordy. A lot of people in society want that quick fix. They want that guru. They want that coach that's just going to fix them.
Yeah.
It's like, no, go away, do the work, be persistent, hold yourself accountable, do the work each and every day, and make little changes.
Yeah.
And once you set clear goals, and it gets easier as you go. If you have one thing that you want to break, set little goals, get there, achieve it, and then watch your life change.
Exactly.
Because it does change.
It does, yeah. And I feel, as you said, in the society, we all look for a quick fix. And I used to be like that. When I first started seeing Gina, seeing some of the healers that I've seen on my journey, well, I've got 3 main ones that I see, but once I started seeing them, I wanted a quick fix, and I wanted to continue to see them and see them and see them, because they were helping me. And it's like, they're helping me, but they can only do so much. I feel like when they do their healing work, they're only doing about 70% of that work, or even 50% of that work, because the rest is up to you. The rest is on you. They will help you shift some of those blocks, but it's up to you to shift the rest of them. It's up to you to continue to work on yourself so that you can be better, be the best, positive, loving version of yourself, so that when you get that life that you want, or that you get whatever it is that you're seeking, you can get it from yourself first. You can get it from yourself first, but then you can appreciate it from when it comes from something else, someone else, whatever it is.
And that's a good way to finish. Actually, what I'll do is we'll end it with an affirmation. What's an affirmation that you can give to people and they can take away from today?
An affirmation, I feel, for a positive affirmation, I feel, is telling yourself that I want to provide this for some of the single people out there. A good positive affirmation for yourself, if you're looking for love, is say, I am lovable, and leave it at that, because it's broad, but saying I am lovable, it means that you are a lovable person. It means that you also allowing love into your life. I am lovable because I'm allowing someone else to love me, but I'm also allowing myself to love me. And that's how I view I am lovable. And that's what I've added it into some of the affirmations I say to myself. And I actually got it from a meditation. So I kind of stole it a little bit.
It's also
but
in your room on your wall.
yes, but I am lovable is it just I don't know, it just shifts something inside of me when I say that. So that's a good positive affirmation.
Thanks for coming on today, Jordy.
No worries. Thanks for having me.
That was awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in wherever in the world you are. And I'll see you guys soon. And please like, subscribe, share, follow, and really help me and help Jordy and help push this content out to some more people. I feel there's a nice audience base there now, but it'd be nice to really push this out because this information is valuable and it's so healing and it's so awesome. And
I just want to add, if you have any friends that would benefit from watching this, share it with them.
or listen.
Share it with them.
I'll provide a saying or an affirmation to finish as well. When I said before, pick one thing that you want to, it's progression, not perfection. You're not going to perfect everything at once. That's one lesson I learned too, was I try to perfect everything. So progression, not perfection, baby steps, and you will get there. And as always,
Patience
and reach out for help.
Yes.
Because it's always there for you. So thank you, Jordy. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
And I'll see you guys real soon with some more exciting guests. So thank you and have a good day.